In the heart of the 1980s, the Lower East Side of Manhattan was a neighborhood like no other, a blend of art, chaos, and raw energy. But behind the glittering scene of punk rock, drag queens, and avant-garde artists, there was a story that would soon captivate the city in the most terrifying way. Did a rising star in the New York art world vanish without a trace? In this chilling true crime tale, the disappearance of Michael Jerome Stewart, an aspiring artist, model, and underground icon, leads us down a dark and twisted path filled with secrets, betrayal, and a shocking twist that would leave everyone questioning what really happened that night. Michael Jerome Stewart was born on May 9th, 1958, in Brooklyn, New York. From a young age, he was an outsider, while his parents worked hard to provide a stable life. Michael's heart was somewhere else, deep in the world of art and music. He spent his teenage years sketching strange images, his mind constantly buzzing with creative energy. As a young adult, Michael's world collided with the chaos of Manhattan's art scene. The Lower East Side was more than just a neighborhood to him. It was a sanctuary, a place where he could dream big, dance all night, and make art that challenged the status quo. But Michael wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was part of the underground, a familiar figure at the Pyramid Club, the epicenter of New York's alternative scene, a place where gender, race, and sexuality didn't matter, a place where the misfits of society came together, shared drinks, danced until dawn, and sometimes vanished without a trace. On a fateful night in September 1983, Michael had no idea that his life was about to take a devastating turn. September 14th, 1983. Michael Stewart had spent the day like any other, biking across the Brooklyn Bridge, visiting friends, and grabbing drinks at Lucky Strike with his ex-girlfriend, Suzanne Maluk. But that night, things were different. Something felt off, though no one could quite put their finger on it. Later, Michael was seen at the Pyramid Club, but this wasn't just another night of dancing to the music of the underground. Michael had an eerie energy about him, one that those closest to him couldn't shake. He spoke of dreams of fame, of traveling the world, of becoming a well-known artist. But deep down, he seemed haunted, like he was running from something. After hanging out at the Pyramid, he was seen leaving around 4:30 a.m. No one could say where he went after that. He just disappeared, like a ghost. We thought he was just off to do his usual thing. But something about that night didn't sit right. It was like he was pulled into the shadows, and no one saw him again. Michael's disappearance shook the Lower East Side. People started talking. Had he been picked up by someone? Had he gone off to find inspiration for his art, only to never return? Or was there something darker at play? Something that no one wanted to believe? Days turned into weeks, and the search for Michael Stewart grew desperate. The police launched an investigation, but the details were scarce. Michael's life wasn't the typical one. He was deeply immersed in the chaotic, fringe world of the East Village's art scene. Could the answers lie there? Or had something far more sinister taken place? The police scoured the clubs, questioned friends, and interviewed people who might have seen him last. But the more they learned, the less they understood. Was Michael running from something, or was he caught up in a deadly game of deceit? And what about his connection to some of New York's most powerful underground figures? As they delved deeper, a pattern began to emerge. Michael had been involved in the same circles as famous artists like Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring, and others on the cusp of fame. The art world was as seductive as it was dangerous. But could someone in his inner circle be responsible for his disappearance? What they found next would stun the investigators and the city. Just when the case seemed to hit a dead end, a shocking new lead came to light. An anonymous tip led the police to a hidden set of Polaroid photographs, images of Michael that had been secretly taken just before he vanished. In these photos, Michael appeared disoriented, almost as if he had been drugged or forced into a situation against his will. And then there was the discovery of a cryptic message scrawled on the wall of a local alley. It was clear that Michael had left a trail for someone to follow. But who was he trying to warn? Michael had his eyes on something big. And I think someone in that art world, someone he trusted, might have seen him as a threat. The art scene back then, it was full of jealousies, rivalries, and dangerous egos. The truth slowly began to unravel as investigators connected the dots. Michael had been involved in more than just graffiti and underground art shows. He had been working on a secret project that could have changed the trajectory of his life. But that project, it turned out, was a double-edged sword. In his final days, Michael had uncovered something shocking. An underground conspiracy involving some of the most influential figures in the New York art world. The more Michael dug, the more dangerous the situation became. It was clear he had stumbled upon something that powerful people wanted buried. But before he could expose the truth, Michael vanished. And the art world, with all its glitz and glamour, turned its back on him. The investigation was ultimately inconclusive. Some say Michael was murdered to protect a dark secret, while others believe he chose to disappear, leaving behind a world that could never understand him. His body was never found, and his case remains unsolved. But one thing is for certain. Michael Jerome Stewart's disappearance changed the East Village forever. It shattered the illusion of the glamorous art world and exposed the shadowy forces lurking just beneath its surface. What really happened to Michael Stewart? Was he a victim of the dangerous underworld of New York's art scene? Or did he simply vanish into the night on his own accord? We may never know the full truth, but we want to hear from you. What's your theory? Do you believe Michael was murdered, or did he escape the pressures of his life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's unravel this mystery together. Thank you for joining us in this haunting true crime tale. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping real-life mysteries. Stay safe, and always keep your eyes open, because sometimes the darkest secrets hide in plain sight.